Ladies and gentlemen, after this video, the very next one that will drop on this channel is none other than Coaching Journeys Season 3 Episode 1. Your favorite reality TV poker coaching show is back with a twist. Let me tell you more. We have had all kinds of different applicants for this season. The phone lines have been jammed and I have had quite the selection to choose from. Carrot Corner Pete speaking.
Hey man, cool to speak to you, bro. I want to apply for season 3 of Coaching Journeys.
Okay, well tell me a bit about yourself. How much volume do you normally play? How many hands did you play last year?
I love poker, bro. I played 6K hands last year.
I'm sorry, but your application has been unsuccessful.
Oh, God, man.
Thank you to everyone, though, in all seriousness, who applied. Many of the applications were extremely well thought out. They contained pictures of graphs and what the students' goals were, what they thought their leaks were, poker tracker reports, you name it. People really put a lot of effort into this application process, but unfortunately I was severely limited with how many places I could award. As you guys know, Coaching Journeys is a show with just one student, right? More on that in just a second. Some of the emails I got went a little bit like this. Hey, Carrot, I love to be student in next YouTube coachings. I play poker for 2 years now and I love to win at game. I get tilted sometimes when my overpair lose to straight. Will you have me on show? Okay, bye. What is this shit? What? Oh my god. This community is a bizarre mix of people. On the one hand, there are like normal, functional people with lives and jobs and families and stuff like that. And then on the other hand, there are these creatures that dwell in the basement and don't have any life experience and probably have never been on a job interview or even outside. And when you hear from them, it's a bit of a wake-up call that, you know, there are creatures beneath us at all times. We don't usually see them, but they are there. And you know what we say at Carrot Corner, though? You don't deserve to play the game. No, it's not that. We say the cream rises to the top. Okay, we don't ever say that, but I'm saying it now. The cream has risen to the top. I have chosen not one, but 711, no, just kidding, 2 students for this season of Coaching Journeys. I have picked the 2 best applicants for the role, and I am sure of it. I'm going to introduce them in this video. They're not going to be on the video. They're going to be on episode 1 of season 3. That's going to be the next one that drops, but in this video, I'm going to give you a profile of each student. I'm going to say a bit about what they wrote in their application, who they are, what they want out of poker, what their dreams and ambitions and aspirations are. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about some of the changes I'm making this time, not just to the candidates who've been selected for a very particular reason, but in how I'm going to be approaching the whole methodology, the pedagogy of how to run the show. How am I going to teach them? How am I actually going to get results? All that and more coming right up. Hey bro, do you want to save big time on your poker education? You can use code EMBARK25 at Carrot Corner to save hundreds of dollars on the Carrot Poker School or Golden Carrot. Bye. Before we look forward to the new video and to season 3 episode 1, before we get started on this most epic of seasons, I'm super stoked about this, guys. I really am. I want to reflect back on what went so dreadfully wrong in the first 2 seasons with Mark and Jess. Just kidding. Great people to work with. Had a great time recording with both of them. But in all seriousness, that was the first 2 times I did this. I've learned from it. There are things I'm going to do differently this time. One of the things that I'm going to do differently concerns my own evolution as a poker instructor coach. I used to be obsessed with the idea that a completely full theoretical education was necessary before we got too heavily into in-game problem solving or exploits or data or anything like that. Over the years, as you guys have witnessed, I have become a better version of myself. I would like to think I've evolved into a coach who blends it all together as harmoniously as possible. And while we do very much have a theory first, take the Carrot Poker School approach at Carrot Corner, these days I understand that in order to get results in a meaningful period of time, it's beneficial to also teach human versus human dynamics, exploits from an early point, and to learn some rules, not to give, you know, instructions like monkeys writing Shakespeare Shakespeare on a typewriter or anything like that. I don't want to give my students a mass data coaching for profit scheme checklist of lines to take. That is soulless and very limited poker with a low ceiling in my experience. No offense, CFPs, but yeah, just what I think. I want to give people the right blend of all of it at the right time. And in seasons 1 and 2 of Coaching Journeys, which are a couple of years ago now, it's been a while since I've done one of these. I took a student like Jess who had absolutely no theory and, with respect, not that much time or will to sit down and like work through an entire theory course or anything like that. Just wanted to play poker. And I kind of imposed like a lot of theoretical rules upon her throughout our coaching sessions. And I think there were too many theoretical rules, and I don't think I quite made it pragmatic enough. I think I had to make it more practical. If they do this, they have that, so we do that. And that kind of teaching to someone's level of theory, getting them to click the right buttons, even though they have limited theory, that's a skill I've been working on more and more as I've really tried to get better at one-to-ones over the last couple of years. And I think I get better results out of one-to-ones now than I did when I was in that mindset of wanting to do like full theory first. And Coaching Journeys is a limited life product. It's not going to go on for years. There's going to be 20, 30 episodes. I don't know, something like that. We'll see how it goes. At some point, one of the two students that I have chosen is going to get to 25 NL before the other one, and that will conclude the race to 25 NL. But I want to teach them in a way that combines everything. We are going to have theory lessons with a bit of common node drilling. I think that's very important to get students understanding the right things about the game. But we're not going to go into too much abstract detail. I know that both of the students I've taken on are Carrot Poker School students. They've been working through at least grade 1, and they bought it off their own back. It's not like I just gave it to them so they could do the series. What I learned with Jess in season 2 was that I was definitely forcing too much theory, and I wasn't doing enough pragmatic in-game problem solving and quick fix installation of good habits or anything like that. And with Mark in season 1, I think at that point, because Mark had a bit more theory, maybe I didn't lay the theory on as heavily, and I think I was more pragmatic there, and I think that was good. But again, with someone like Mark, he just didn't have the time to put in tons and tons of volume. In order for you, the audience, to see progress and results in the series, which is what I want you to see, we need to be improving people's game rapidly, and we need to do it in the perfect way. And we also need to set up a situation where they are committed to playing a minimum amount of hands per week. And both of the students that I've taken on for this race to 25 NL season 3 have agreed that they will never play less than 10k hands in a week. Every single week they have an obligation by signing up for this show to play at least 10k hands. If they play more, that is going to be amazing. That is encouraged. And I want these two to be posting graphs of 60k hands at the end of the month. More hands than Mark or Jess probably played in the entire Coaching Journey season 1 or 2. No disrespect to them, great people, but they just didn't have the time, the commitment, whatever it was, to put in that amount of volume. And that's where those seasons fell short. We were looking at graphs of a week that were like a few thousand hands, and you're just not getting a true flavor for how someone's game is progressing with that sort of low volume. So I want my students to do as I say and not as I do myself, and actually put in tons of volume, right? Because that's their job. They're grinders, they're poker players, they're aspiring poker athletes. They need to put in tons of volume, and it's going to be fascinating to see over 8, 12, 16 weeks or whatever, with students posting 200k hand graphs by the end of the series, at least. I would like to think it's going to be amazing to see how they have fared. We are not going to judge them on their previous performance pre-race to 25 NL. They're going to be at slightly different levels, perhaps. They're going to have different 10 NL graphs and experiences so far. We don't really care about that. We're going to be tracking their graph from the minute the series gets going to the end of the series, and whoever has the best graph is going to be declared the winner. But hopefully one or both of them are going to reach 25 NL by proving that they have a very good 10 NL win rate. Now you might think, well, that's a really low stake. Is this going to be very basic? These are not complete beginners or anything like that. They've just chosen to start out at 10 NL. They're fairly new to poker. But anyway, I'll stop rambling. Let me introduce the competitors, because the next video you see drop on this channel, as I say, will be me sitting there with both of them, coaching them. So let's find out a bit more about the contestants for season 3 of Coaching Journeys Race to 25 NL. The first contestant on season 3 of Coaching Journeys is Jurgen. He is a 39-year-old mechanical design engineer working on high-end sports cars. He describes his job as a lot of precision, problem solving, and optimization on a day-to-day basis. He first got back into poker way back in the Moneymaker, Jamie Gold era, just a bit like me, really. Same age, boomers, fellow boomers, and he has decided to come back to it now after a very long break. He got into shore fishing. He represented Belgium's country at shore fishing on an international stage. He caught way more shrimps than most other people. He's really good at catching shrimps. Not sure if that's going to translate to owning the fish in poker. I hope it is. God, that's such a tacky joke. Come on, Pete. But yeah, the thing that's impressed me about this guy is that he's already played over 100,000 hands of 10NL. He's already worked his way up from 2NL, 5NL, 10NL, and he's documented all of it on Twitch. He's done it in the public domain. You can find him on Twitch as Fish to Shark TV, and he's not afraid to take criticism publicly. He says he's planning on taking grade 2 next month, having worked through grade 1 multiple times. It's definitely the way you should do it, by the way. Definitely helps to revisit Carrot Poker School grades. You will only retain about 20% the first time. So he's already embarked on the poker education. He's already put in some volume. He knows what it takes. He knows that this is a marathon. He understands that the graph he's put together so far that looks like this, just over 100,000 hands at 10NL. He's up about 22 buy-ins so far, but he knows that that doesn't really matter. He seems to be aware that that is just a tiny rung on the ladder of poker progress. And I like students that aren't loaded. I like students that understand variance, that understand the marathon that lies ahead of them. I like students that are dedicated, who are academically committed, who are not afraid to put in volume. This is our guy. Let's see if we can help him achieve his dreams, get him to crush 10NL, 25NL while we're at it. This is race to 25NL, but let's see how far we can take these students. Jurgen's competitor, but also his colleague in this journey, student number 2 is Shu. Shu's application really impressed me. I'll tell you why in just a second. She was born and raised in Beijing, China. She moved to Germany to study her master's in business and marketing and worked as a sales director for a while. Then she traveled the world running her own fitness company, and a couple of years ago got back into poker when a friend of hers showed her pre-flop charts for the first time. This flicked some sort of switch where she realized that the game was much more strategically rich than she had first realized, because although she'd been casually playing poker since 2013, a lot of that had just been based on intuition and enjoyment, never really taking it very seriously, and certainly not academically. Recently though, she's picked up a couple of courses on Carrot Corner, and she's definitely become a bit of a viewer of the channel. She reaches out in this email and says, I've been watching your videos for months now and I like your straight talk, no BS style, and you're funny. I've read your book, The Grounder's Manual. Ugh, that's a bit dated now, and bought a couple of your courses already. Okay, redeemed shoes somewhat in my eyes. Grounder's Manual is not a terrible book, by the way, but it is a bit old. I wouldn't recommend it anymore. Just start with grade 1 of the Carrot Poker School. Go from there, guys. I'm writing, she says, because I want in for season 3. Why me? Because I'll take the homework seriously, because I've already embarrassed myself enough in microstakes games to know I need structure, feedback, and someone who won't sugarcoat. Because your approach, clear, direct, no smoke, matches how I want to learn. Fast but grounded. And that is exactly what we're looking for. Grounded is such an important thing in poker because this game can delude you in so many different ways. Seeking progress to your understanding of the game while remaining patient results wise is the secret recipe for a winning mental game, in my opinion. Shu describes herself as having a weird mix of discipline and stubbornness. She says, if you tell me you suck here, I'll dig in and fix it rather than whine. That's exactly what we're looking for. She promises us 4 things, guys. We're going to have to hold her to this when we start the show. Firstly, that she will show up on time. I'll report back on her punctuality. Secondly, that she'll do the work. I am going to be setting homework. I'm going to be diagnosing focus areas every week. I'm going to be telling students to pick out hands for review, giving them some watching to do of Carrot Poker School materials that they already own, that kind of thing. Thirdly, she promises to keep her ego in check. And finally, that she'll push herself and annoy me with questions until stuff clicks. I'm very hopeful about both Jurgen and Shu's prospects in this show. I love teaching Mark and Jess. I really did. I think they're great people. I thought they were awesome personalities and students for the show. But I would like to think this time that we just have a couple of people that are that bit more able to put in high volume, to put in lots of study, and to make progress in a more meaningful time period for this show. The reason I decided to bring you this preview video to let you know that this was dropping was that I wanted you to have some rays of sunshine in your dark, gloomy, wretched lives. Just kidding. I wanted to get all of this out the way, the intros, the profiles of the contestants, wanted to set the scene on my own, just sat here rambling at my desk so that when I'm on that first coaching call, with Jurgen and Shu, we can dive straight into some hand analysis. In episode 1, I've asked them to send over their most recent 10k sample. This is basically the pre-graph volume. This is the fodder for me to review with them. And I'm going to pick out some hands where I think they've played well. I'm going to pick out some hands where I think each of them has made some mistakes. I'm even going to get them to cross-examine each other's hands a little bit. We're going to have a great time. Just one thing I want to know from you guys in the meantime, who do you think is going to win the race to 25NL? Do you think it's going to be Jurgen? Do you think it's going to be Shu? Who's going to win based on what I said today? Get your predictions in right now. And I will see you guys very soon for season 3, episode 1 of your much loved coaching show, Coaching Journeys. This is Poker Coaching of Reality TV. We're back.